Morning, Matt.
Morning, how's it going?
Hello, Senator and Representative. Just so you both know, while our meeting should start approximately, our forum should start approximately at 10 o'clock, we are now currently streaming live on YouTube, just in case you wanted to turn your camera off and wait for the meeting to begin.
Thanks.
What did you just say, Phil?
Hello, Senator. I just wanted to let you know that while the meeting is not officially starting until 10 o'clock, your cameras, you can turn them off until we begin, as we're currently on YouTube, just to make sure some running time for tech issues.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. I will see you when we begin and when DMV joins us.
Can anybody hear me?
That's gonna be tough for her to go through that. Absolutely awful. I mean,
Hello?
She has to sort of stand there with her.
Can you hear me, Millie?
I can hear you. Tony, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. And Millie's muted, so if she can hear you, she is not.
Why
I'm
is
not off this over, Senator. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Kathy, can you see me or not? I can't
No,
get-
Tony,
Yeah, I can't. The camera's not working here.
you might need to sign on again because sometimes
Okay.
that happens.
All right, let me do it, Kat. I'll call you right back.
Okay.
I noticed that.
1 2 0 9 6 3 0 7 4 0. Yeah. Double check. I need numbers. The link doesn't work. Hey,
Kathy?
hey, do you have a meeting number?
Yeah, I'm gonna, let me, excuse me, yeah, Matt was gonna send out the meeting information again.
Yeah.
So, let me.
Sorry, you guys, we had this issue on the deputy's computer last time and they were able to fix it. So IT's in his office trying to fix it now. There you go.
How about, can you hear us?
Yep.
Excellent.
And I can see you.
There you go. I see Millie. I see, oh, Representative Moran's there. I see her. I see Brandon. Brandon, you're on mute.
How you doing, Tony?
Good, how are you? Looking good there with the tie, brother. I like it.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Come on in, Commissioner. We're alive.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How you doing, Millie?
Can you see us, Steve?
I can see
Senator.
you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Are we all 6 feet
Well,
distanced
wait.
in here?
Let's see.
Okay, I don't know who's coming, so Millie, keep an eye out so when everybody's here, we can get started. But I don't know who else.
I guess I'll defer to Phil or the chairs whenever they'd like to start. I see 31 participants, so it should be just about everyone.
It seems that the last few people are joining in just now. If the chair would be kind enough to give us just a minute.
So Phil, are you gonna be able to put the agenda on?
Yes, Mr. Deputy Commissioner, Millie sent me the document to be shared for the presentation.
Okay. Roland, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Let us know when you guys are ready and the commissioner is going to start.
Senator Casano, you set?
Ready to go. Go for it.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to DMV Day here in the Transportation Committee. Each year, we like to introduce and invite our commissioners, deputy commissioners, legislative liaisons from DOT, DMV, Port Authority, and the Airport Authority to make presentations, sort of state of the states of their specific agencies, helping us understand the challenges that they're facing, the opportunities that they see to improve customer service, and the challenges that they'll need our help in addressing. We're thankful to start the year off this year with DMV, which, as we all know, is one of the first points of contact that most of our citizens have with any form of government, state government here in Connecticut. We are served very ably by our commissioner and deputy commissioner, and without question, one of the best legislative liaisons in state government in Millie Torres Ferguson. So we are blessed to have them all in attendance here today so that we can receive this information. I am cognizant of the importance that January 20th holds for American citizens and residents and folks who want to be having their eyes glued on something else at about noon today. So we're going to try to move quickly to accommodate that desire that so many of us feel. But we're going to try to hear from our commissioner, deputy commissioner, and DMV officials about where we stand right now. And with that, I'll turn it over to Senator Casano and then my ranking members for some quick introductory remarks, and then we'll get started. Senator Casano.
Yes, good morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody on the screen. Still not the same thing as being there, but I guess.
You can't hear.
I know, I believe you have muted yourself.
Again.
There you go. You're good.
All right. Nothing changed on the button. So looking forward to a good year. You know, this is the time if we're going to get something done, something of any significance. It's going to be in the long session. It's going to seem a lot longer simply because we're doing it online and everything else. But don't hesitate if you have bills or things that are a priority for you. Let us know as chairs, and we'll do what we can to get those things out. So, welcome to another year, and let's make it a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Carney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's nice to see everyone today. I always love hearing from the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's really nice to see the commissioner and the deputy commissioner. I know the last 10 months have been somewhat tumultuous for many departments of state government, but especially the Department of Motor Vehicles with all the changes and deadlines and changes and procedures that have been made. You know, I haven't gotten many complaints from constituents, so I would say that means you're doing a pretty good job. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you on changes going forward and things you'd like to see achieved during this legislative session. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. And like I said, Department of Motor Vehicles will be before us again next week with their legislative package for the upcoming year. And there's an opportunity for us to have the commissioner, deputy commissioner come before us again later in session if there are any large issues that we need to address. But we thought this was a great opportunity for new members of the committee, as well as folks who may be new to the legislature, to be introduced to our leadership team at DMV, to hear of their challenges, to hear how they responded, and get a good purview and introduction to the challenges we all face. So with that being said, I will turn it over to the commissioner. And thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Casano and Lamar, ranking members Summers and Carney, and members of the Transportation Committee. My name is Sibongila Makovane, and I'm the Commissioner of the DMV. Thank you for the opportunity to present an informational overview today. Today, I am joined by Deputy Commissioner Tony Guerrero, Chief Operating Officer Gail Billett, Chief Legal Counsel Sharon Generakis, DMV Attorney Michelle Givens, and Legislative Liaison, the wonderful Millie Torres Ferguson. So what I'm going to do today is really share with you the journey that the DMV has been on since COVID hit last year. And so many of you know that DMV basically stayed open the entire time. However, between March and June, we closed for roughly 2.5 months our branch offices because of COVID. But what we were able to do is move the work to our back office, and we continued processing. Many of our transactions came through mail. We put drop boxes in front of our branch offices to make sure that we continued to deliver services to our constituents. We then reopened our offices, including the branch offices, in June. And when we opened, we had done many changes to address COVID and the requirements to social distance. One of the major changes that we actually made was the DMV opened by appointment only. We did not realize, we were concerned at first based on the fact that when you're appointment only, you now have a set number of appointments on a daily basis. And so we were not quite sure how the citizens would respond. And I'm happy to tell you that it has been a raging success. So what we're going to do today as a team is really share with you the changes and upgrades and challenges that we faced and were able to overcome. We're going to talk about the changes that we made in our facilities. And then in terms of operations, I will share with you some of the changes we made in branch, driver services, a new business unit that we put together, so you see the agenda. And then most importantly, I'm going to share with you our accomplishments as we look forward to modernize and digitize the DMV in line with the governor's vision to really become the first state government where we are designing our processes from the end user's shoes. We are looking at our transactions and working as best as we can to move those from inline to online. So the good news is we have maintained the momentum. When COVID hit, the DMV had reduced its wait times from 1 hour and 35 minutes to roughly, I think, 25 to 30 minutes. We've continued that momentum, and we're seeing the wait times of 20 to 25. When somebody arrives here with an appointment, they are brought into the office and are able to transact within 25 minutes. So we are seeing that that change was very, very positive. So now I'll share with you, what we've done with our facilities. So we were able to receive COVID funds that we used to implement all the necessary changes and safety measures that were needed in our branch offices. We actually were able to redesign entry and exit points for how our the constituents enter DMV one way in and one way out. We're also able to, I think we have nurses at the front door able to take temperature because our employees were very, very concerned. And so they felt, comfortable with those measures that we took. We also implemented, as everybody knows, and as all other agencies and anyone that deals with the public, a mask requirement. More importantly, we also were able to implement plexiglass. So fortunately, we have a deputy commissioner who understood that if we did not respond quickly to order those plexiglass, we might not have been able to. So we're one of the first agencies to put those up to ensure that our employees felt safe. And we also implemented a daily cleaning and weekly electrostatic, I always have a problem with that, electrostatic cleaning in all of our branch offices. So we were able to quickly respond to COVID, take all necessary measures to ensure social distancing, as well as ensure that everybody felt safe. I know that this is one of the deputy's pride achievements, so I'll give him maybe a minute to kind of share anything else that I might have missed.
No, and thank you, Commissioner. And good morning, everyone. I wish that we could be in front of each other talking, but unfortunately during this pandemic, we are not. But as the Commissioner stated, guys, I think I really want to put things in light here, right? The Commissioner and I came in here almost 2 years ago with a wait time of over 2.5 hours. All right, the Commissioner and her team went through the lines, all right, recalculated how we should be doing business, and within a year, and I want to say this again, within a year, brought those wait times down to basically 25 minutes. And then in March, the pandemic hit, COVID-19. All right, and here we were. All right, how do we shut down the DMV? How do we move forward with the agency? And the Commissioner and the team, we gathered and decided that one, we're an essential agency. Even though we're going to close our doors to the public, we still have to keep people in the back room, making sure that everything is flowing, whether it's registrations, whether it's titles. Nevertheless, we have never shut down. All right, our employees, all right, were concerned. Therefore, the Commissioner and the team made it very clear that we will do everything possible to keep our employees safe and our customers safe. So she enacted to make sure that we have nurses at every branch, taking temperatures, all right, electrostatic cleaning, all right, throughout all the branches. And when I say that, guys, what we're doing here is that every week we do a deep cleaning electrostatic, all right, in regards to making sure that our customers and our employees feel safe. And we enacted a lot of measures in place, whether it's plexiglass, whether it's social distancing, and the appointment system that she's going to talk about, that really has forward the thinking of a DMV and basically pushed us to modernize what she's going to be talking about. So again, there are a lot of things that we have done in a short time, and I'm very proud to say that, you know, as you can see it, it's working. It's a different DMV, and I'm proud to say that. And I will say that, and I'll argue every day of the week, that we are here to make sure that customers get the best service that they can get, and we're going to make sure that we do it in a way that's beneficial for everyone in the state of Connecticut, and to make sure our employees get recognized when they do great work too. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to really share the fundamental change in how we redesigned and reconfigured our service delivery model, because in essence, COVID broke the in-person. I'll just share some percentages. For new licenses, in-person went down. This is comparing third quarter 2019 to third quarter 2020. It went down 19%. Fourth quarter 19 to fourth quarter 20, it went down 9%. Interestingly, by mail, it went up. Third quarter, it went up 2,940%. And fourth quarter 2003, we went from 248 licenses in 2019 being done over the mail to 6,200. So as you can see, we were able to respond. The drop boxes worked, and that's how we were able to manage traffic. Other changes that we made in the branch offices included really rethinking about how we deliver services to essential employees, and we reconfigured our knowledge appointment system to be able to take appointments from CDL drivers. We redesigned the test area, and if you go in, it's really quite beautiful. We've created a way to, like high school, very distinct plexiglass, very modern looking. We deployed tablets to our DMV agents so that they didn't have to touch paper. Our COO, Gail Billett, is online. And so I just want to make sure that if there's anything that I've missed, she has the opportunity to highlight some other items.
Hi, no, I think you pretty much hit it. I think the only thing that we did was go back to basics, and we now greet our customers at the door, ask them why they've come in, And we try to educate them and make sure they have the right documents, because we've found that 30% of the people come without the correct documentation. So we've tried to touch base with people ahead of time, do it online, meet them at the door, and facilitate the workflow so that when they do come in, we use technology, we use the appointments, and we use a little bit of knowledge transfer to make it a more a better experience for our employees. So I think you hit most of the points.
I was hoping that you would share the fact that your team came up with this idea called Super Mondays, where
Oh, sure.
So can you share that with them?
Yeah. While we were closed for COVID for 2.5 months or so, what we found is that we had a backlog of 400,000 customers. And so between extensions, a lot of them were taken care of, but we had certain groups that, based on needs for COVID, we wanted to address them. And so we moved from a 5-day to a 6-day work week, and we started doing Super Mondays, where we identified a key constituent group to bring in and service them. So every month since COVID, we've had a Super Monday for senior citizens, for veterans, for essential workers, and for first responders. And it's been really well received. And we've, dealt with, over just being open in those days, we've dealt with thousands of people. But we also found as we moved along that there was a real issue with truck drivers and bus drivers. And so we also opened up on Mondays to do skills testing and to do licensing and registrations for those customers. And we did the marshals, or the legal downtown called us and asked us if we could do marshals. So what we've tried to do is use Mondays to deal with all of these special groups. Again, seniors, we didn't want them to have to come into the branches with everybody else. It was a danger. So we opened up Mondays for them. We also had, while we were closed, a backlog of almost 60,000 learner permits and driving tests. And we used Mondays to reschedule and have all of those people come in, all those students. And we were able to clear out the backlog with that group in about 6 weeks. So adding in the day and having our employees be dedicated to servicing the citizens of Connecticut turned out to be a real positive throughout the COVID pandemic.
Yeah. Okay. And we also worked very closely with the driving schools to make sure that we were supporting them in any way that we could, because when they were closed and they needed us to now open up more appointments to test their students, we were able to do that. I don't know if Chris Smith, you want to say anything about that?
Yes, Commissioner, we did add extra appointments. Sorry, Commissioner. Yes, we added extra appointments for the driving schools that we do in the off-site program, and also longer work days to so the schools could make up that backlog that we had for March, which we essentially eliminated by August. We were completely caught up with those test appointments. We also implemented a temporary license that would eliminate the need for the students to come in once they pass their test. So that would reduce customer-facing contacts as well. And then they just received their license in the mail. So a lot of things took place to relieve that backlog.
Yeah. And if I could just say this too, guys, is that Chris Smith, the head of that division, that, again, we were closed for a few months, and therefore we offered our drivers a unique situation that went out to these driving schools. And what we were able to do, rather than test kids, maybe like 10 or 12, we basically ended up testing 20 at a time, offering overtime to our inspectors out there that were on Saturdays, Sundays. And it was a pretty cool situation, because what they did was that they would have the vehicle, the inspector would be in that same vehicle. And every time a student would go in and they get their test, then the steering wheel would be all cleaned out. They would disinfect the whole car, and basically it was almost like on a conveyor belt. The next person would come in, the next person would come in, and we banged that out basically within 3 months. And something also I just want to share with the committee was that, back in March when this hit, we could not just shut down. As you know, when the pandemic hit, there was an overabundance of calls from the tractor trailer driving schools, the Teamsters Union, Local 671, where they needed commercial drivers to drive those tractor trailers with food, all PPEs, everything that needed to be put in the state of Connecticut. And our inspectors were there during that pandemic when no one knew anything that was going on with that pandemic to get those people licensed so they can deliver goods and services to our state.
And so I'll stop right there to see if anybody has questions, because I think we've given you guys a lot of information before I proceed to talk about the other adjustments and innovations that we're able to implement in response to COVID. Any questions?
I'm sorry, I have a question. This is John Kissel.
Okay.
Yes, Senator Kissel, go ahead.
Sure. My question is, in my district, I have the New England Tractor Trailer Training School, and they have said that they've had problems getting their graduates through the process. And I'm just wondering if there's been any headway regarding that.
Hold on a second.
So can I respond to that? This is
Go ahead, Gail, and Chris will come next.
Yep. So in the branch, we actually changed the way that we handle the situation. Is first off, we went, I think as the commissioner said, we went online so people can schedule themselves to be more convenient. But more importantly, we're actually in contact with that group, and we provide them blocks of appointments, which we share them with them. We leave them open for their truckers to use, so that it's more of a convenience. Unfortunately, we've had about a rate of 30% no-show with that group, and they've asked us to open up more appointments. But every group, of truckers and bus, we have to be really diligent. We've given them the largest block of appointments, and unfortunately their candidates have not been showing up for those, which has resulted in a backlog. But we are working with them directly, and Janet Reynolds, the head of branch, talks to them on a regular basis, and we have Kathy Martinez, who does emails to them weekly or bi-monthly to ensure they have appointments.
Okay, I appreciate that answer. Thank you.
And then Senator Kissel, I will just say this, that I had conversations with the owners himself too. And our CEO, Gail Bill, is absolutely correct. And we are working with them to try to expedite and try to how we can be more efficient with them in regards to getting more tests on the road.
Okay. I really appreciate it. They're a good employer out in Summers, and every once in a while I get bombed by emails and then it seems to dissipate. So as long as the department is working with them, I'm happy.
Good.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Meskers.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that, getting the historical perspective of the shift in the business has been very helpful, to know what's going on, to know what you people are dealing with in the course of the COVID virus, and the dramatic and traumatic shift in trying to deal with both the infection and deal with the constituents. And I think the service has been very good. The log jams and bottlenecks, obviously, I would have expected, because taking us onto an online service is difficult. And just a personal note to both, I can't speak to everybody in the group, but Millie Torres and Tony, there were some particular issues with constituents with, end of life issues with caregivers and registration. And you guys bent over backwards to make things happen for people at the worst moment in their life. So I just want to give a shout out there for how you've responded to the issues in need. And I can't imagine the stress you guys have faced. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Meskers. If anyone else has a question, if they could raise their hand or put up a thumbs up signal at this point. DMV is going to continue with the rest of their presentation, but myself, Senator Cassano, and Representative Carney can keep looking through the participant list to see if anyone has identified needing to ask the question at any point, and we'll keep an ongoing list of folks who have questions or concerns they want addressed. So with that, we'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you. So the next topic that we're going to cover is just some of the, changes that we implemented in driver services. We were able to automate the restoration process for people who had suspensions. Because as you can, the theme of all of this is all of these solutions were to minimize the number of people that needed to come into the office. And so what you'll start to hear are some of the online or technology, how we leverage technology to close the gap in services. We were able to implement a way to restore folks who had lost their credentials. We also enabled folks who were having to have an interlock device in their cars. We were able to allow them to electronically submit their data. But one of the solutions that we came up with that we're really proud of is the business unit. Prior to COVID, our businesses had to come into our branches with their transactions. They would wait in line to process. They had a limit of 3 transactions to process and then go back to the end of the line. And in some cases, they had runners, but they would wait sometimes 5 hours to get their transactions completed. Our COO came up with an idea of putting together a business unit whereby we have branch staff that are totally dedicated to working with the business, because some of them have license renewals of 150 licenses because of their fleets. So I'll actually let our COO, Gail Billett, share with you how we redesigned the workflow to make it easier for them and some of the savings in the time that we've been able to give back to the businesses.
Yep. So, yes, so whether it was bus companies or trucking companies, U-Haul, they were all talking about what, that they were looking for better service from the DMV. So we created the business unit where now we had an in-house IT consultant create a portal where the companies can actually use their phones or a tablet to take pictures of their documents. They go into our business unit. Our business unit reviews the information, and then they schedule appointments with the various companies, and they bring in any original documents. They can drop them without even coming in the building, and they can wait outside, and then we provide them with the licenses, the documents, whatever it is that they need, without having to come in. They just, because it's scheduled, it's 15 minutes out of their time instead of what used to be hours. We are further enhancing that with, we've done some online work so that we're going to be able to have out-of-state dealers participate as well. And we are also working with the trucking companies where registrations, they used to be able to do them at 26,000 pounds. Now it's up to 73,000. So the business unit has allowed us to focus on these companies, on the types of vehicles, and we've been able to update our policies, our workflows, and minimize the amount of time that they have to spend at the DMV.
Any questions? Similar in the VBR arena, we enabled our dealers to be able to process casual sales, which has been a big hit. And again, huge numbers of, allowing people to then go locally to do the casual sales. I don't know if anybody has any comment about the casual sales. Okay. And then I think the thing that we're most proud of in VBR is a solution that we put together for CDL drivers who are constantly on the road, where we enable them to do their transactions and not have to come in. And this solution is called the CDO portal, where they're able to actually I think they take a picture of their credential and submit it to us. Again, I'll let the COO kind of share because she's got the details of how this works.
So when truckers are on the road, if they have any issues with their permits, sometimes they're pulled over by a state trooper or someone and because they are swerving and they write them up for a medical issue, or they just need to check their federal paperwork. We've, again, had an internal IT consultant created a portal, and they can submit that information from wherever they are in the United States. And we receive it through the portal. They can either send us pictures, they can send us emails with questions, they can ask for our assistance, they can ask for information. And again, it can be done from wherever they are. They no longer have to come back into the state and go to a branch to have this taken care of. This has been operational for about almost a year, and we've so far had 24,000 plus users, and several other states have asked us about this because this is a state-of-the-art workflow that the state of Connecticut put together and is being replicated in questions asked by other states because of the savings to the truckers, to the DMVs, and to everybody involved.
Thank you, Gail. And the contact center was literally the lifeblood of the Connecticut citizens in contacting the DMV. And at some point, they've answered over 500,000 calls in this period. Some days we would get 60,000 calls because we were closed and people needed information. So, kudos to the contact center. They are one of the units that stayed open the entire time, and the employees came into the office the entire time. And then, other innovations around copy records, that's the area where people request handicap placards. That team now has gone online, so you're now able to request the credentials online for driver history as well as your handicap placard. So again, all to drive convenience for the end customer and also to keep our employees safe. And then I'll allow our legal director, Sharon, to actually share another solution that I personally never thought would happen, but that even our lawyers innovated and went online. So I'll let Sharon Generakis share what her team did in terms of administrative hearings.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So the Legal Services Division is responsible for doing hearings for our licensees and DUI hearings. So early on, we realized that we needed to continue that process and also make sure that people were safe. So we used the Cisco WebEx platform and we developed a whole protocol for having remote hearings. It's been a huge success. So far, we've done 1,400 administrative hearings remotely. We also use that same platform. Our attorneys that are hearing advocates here use that platform to train police officers on writing reports and that sort of thing. And they've had a great deal of success with that as well, doing that remotely. So we're really very proud of the efforts that we made, and we hit our stride. We never got really far behind on hearings, although we did have, according to the executive order from the governor, we did have an extension on some of our timelines. But at some point, we didn't need it anymore because we were on target. So that's our story in legal.
Thank you, legal. Any questions?
Before we get into questions, I just want to say, after you brought up the sheer numbers of people that you're dealing with on a daily basis, up to 60,000 calls per day, 500,000 calls over the course of the crisis, 1,400 administrative hearings. It's been a remarkable story of what you on the administrative team down to the individual staff members in DMV have been able to pull off. As I've read stories across the country of DMVs and how we're all responding You have been a beacon for a lot of them. Your approach, your quickness and response, the modernization of the efforts that you've utilized in order to meet the concerns that people have had and satisfy them has been exemplary, I feel. And yeah, there are going to be issues and there are going to be concerns, and we're going to have to try to figure out how we move forward and address those. But you have responded to the moment, and it's evidenced in the numbers. And I just want to say thank you, and I want to make sure it gets through from the top to the bottom of every worker in state employment at the DMV. I feel like you've done an extraordinary, exemplary job. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you on behalf of all the DMV employees. We really, really appreciate that.
Thank you, Rowan. That was very, again, to the commissioner said, we have a great team here, and they really did come through this pandemic and moving forward through the modernization project.
Are there questions or concerns at this point from any members before we move on? Representative Meskers?
Yeah, it's a quick one. You know, in addition to applause for what you're doing and the observations with Roland about how you handled the crush of activity, where I'd like you to look and broaden your view is to see when I started looking at DMV a while back, I saw particularly Maine had managed to capture most of I think it's the trailer registrations on the East Coast. So as you're incorporating your search and technology and broadening service to the community, I'd like to know what pieces of business may be happening away from the state that we might be able to attract to our state in terms of those tractor trailer registrations, et cetera, where we might be able to when we take that technology up, we look, are there business lines or business activities we can drag into the state on a revenue basis that would be happening away from us? So that would be just the observation there.
Okay, thank you. We'll do that. I know we have 20 minutes, so I'll make sure that I cover the last two pieces, and then I'll give us a chance to even share more. Just everybody's always interested in our partner, Nutmeg and AAA. We opened a branch, or my brain is getting a little freezing, but we opened a branch in Glastonbury on September 21st. We also are expecting to open a DMV Express in Norwalk in the spring that's coming up. And our partners continue to do a bang up job for us. They process roughly 56% of our license renewals and 40% after COVID. So they saw a little dip, but they continue to be a great partner. And let's see, I think legal is go. Sorry, Sharon, I went out of order, but thanks for responding. And then really the work that we're doing in all of these areas. In some areas, we have an opportunity to test how our constituents respond to technology. And really part of our overarching goal for the modernization is to digitize as much as we can some of the work that we do. And that digitize means that we make information available online. And so DMV is very, very paper intensive today. And so one of the goals of the coming 2 years is look at opportunities to drive more transactions online, as well as move to, I think we're all used to companies that have what you call customer relationship management, where they know who you are, they know where you've been, they know questions you have even before you do. And so that's what we're looking at as the next phase, to really make it easier for constituents and customers and citizens of Connecticut and others that are moving in, because we are seeing an influx, to feel like a modern state in terms of how they can transact their business. In many instances, we've all gotten used to being able to do our transactions anywhere, anytime. And so one of the major work that's happening right now is we are in the process of working to move license renewal end to end online. And so we're hoping that when we meet the next time, we're able to share where we are and how far we've gone, but we are in the testing phases for this, and we are seeing success in terms of people going online. We're doing small chunks, so we're excited about that experimentation, and I think it's going to yield some successes. So we will keep you posted. Other modernization work we're looking at is upgrading our website because we've gotten feedback that it's very hard to navigate. So there's a lot of work going on around there. We're just constantly looking for ways to take things online to ensure that we provide the necessary convenience. So excited about the modernization. It's in the early stages. And we have a set of projects that we're going to be working on, and we will share deeper as we progress. So I think that is it. Those are my last opening remarks. I would like to just share with you some of the awards that our staff has received in the past year. We received the Community Service Award from the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators for the work that we do on the Teen Advisory Group around safe driving. Branch Operations received the Community Service Award once again from ANVA for the role on organ and tissue donation. We've received $6 million in grants from the Federal Motor Carrier Administration. In 2019 to 2020, we received an International and Regional Service Award. And you heard about a lot of these around improvements through efficiencies award. This is the first time that this has been awarded to Connecticut. And we also received in 2019 Client Agency of the Year from the Office of the Attorney General. So we're very, very proud of our staff. They are very, very dedicated. And the deputy and I and the leadership team at DMV consider ourselves very lucky to have such a dedicated staff. So I'll turn it over to the group for any further questions.
Great. Representative Carney, if you could help me identify anyone with questions as we go through. I just want to again reiterate how thankful we are for your work to date, the challenges that you've had to come through, and your leadership both at the state and national level in your response. It really has been something that I've been able to monitor over the last 9 months and talk to transportation committee leaders across the country. They're always asking questions about how you've been able to so quickly transition all of these services online, protect your staff, and accommodate the tremendous constituent needs. So, you deserve the applause that other members have given you earlier today. And I just want to reiterate from the top to the day-to-day worker at DMV, everyone's done an extraordinary job in extraordinarily challenging times. And again, thank you. If there are any questions, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. And Representative Carney, if you can help me monitor the list to see if I'm missing anyone. I have a few questions that have come in prior to the meeting that I'll try to address at this time too. There is a concern of folks who are moving into the state of Connecticut. They've maybe not full-time Connecticut residents yet, but they've moved in from other states, or they have recently bought homes coming from New York or Massachusetts. And members have noticed a rising number of out-of-state plates throughout our states. I know we'll see a proposal from you next week in your legislative package about how to accommodate folks who are moving here and having a hard time getting an immediate reservation online. Can you just give me a sense for how you wish to handle this? And I don't know if it's anecdotal. I know certainly in New Haven, it appears as if there's more out-of-state vehicles traversing a road. I've heard from other members there certainly are. How would we otherwise handle, what is DMV's approach to handling this growing number of people who are moving here from out of state or who have cars parked here with registrations that are out of state?
So either Gail or the deputy?
Yeah,
I mean,
again, thanks for that question. I think this is something we've been struggling with, right, Roland, for quite a long time now, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what cars are coming into the state. So there's got to be a mechanism that maybe we can work with municipalities in regards to find out how those cars are being registered. If they're not, obviously they're not being registered. And I think that comes down to the issue. When a car comes from, say, Maine and parks in someone's driveway, we as a DMV don't have that knowledge that they're there. But the municipality may have that knowledge because someone might have complained to their neighbors or whatever, and then made a call to the municipality. There's structurally, we have to try to figure out how we can get that information to us, and then we could proceed forward in regards to then going after that individual because they are in the state of Connecticut with plates that shouldn't be, they should be with the state of Connecticut.
Could you walk me through how the online registration system might work? Could someone within, 30 days of moving to Connecticut access through DMV a reservation timeline, and you would accommodate their request within 90 days? But they could access the system within that 30 days and secure a reservation date within 90? Is that how it plays out?
I have to look at exactly how it plays out, but we are willing to listen to any ideas because we have talked to municipalities, especially I've talked to people that from the city of Waterbury, to be quite honest with you. There are people from the municipalities, how we can try to resolve this. And I'm sure there's a way, Roland. You know what I mean? Whether there are people, but if you're coming into the state and you're not registering anywhere in regards to whether you bought a home or whatever it is, what if they're renting somewhere, right? And they're in the state of Connecticut and they have the vehicle. Again, it's the information. What you don't know, you don't know.
I appreciate that. I think part of it is going to be working with us to help identify a solution moving forward. Like, we don't want to go back to the old ways where we essentially deputized DMV to be the town's tax collectors. Like, that was a really inefficient system that led to those long lines and created more problems than solved. So, but we do need to help work with our local municipal leaders and representatives who are seeing this. And I appreciate your willingness to do that.
Absolutely. Roland, I couldn't agree with you more. And we're more than willing to do that. And I agree, we can't start deputizing people, start looking at because, unless there's an influx of money that's coming our way, let us know. But right now, as we all know, it's probably not. But again, I think if there's a way with the municipalities to sit with us and come up with some type of solution, by all means, we'll be at the table with them.
I think what's different though is we now have things online, and technology is a beautiful thing. And as we start to work with municipalities, maybe you can over time, I don't know, I mean, this is to me the one idea that would come to me is some trigger that says, okay, this person is now registered this or done this, which says that they're permanent resident. So we're just going to look at opportunities for technology to help us. Because I think, kind of word of mouth it's difficult to chase. So stay tuned for what we come up with.
Representative
Might
Casey.
I add, I'm sorry, this is Gail again. Might I add one thing, which is that by statute, they have to come in so that we can see their documents. And so we're going to look for you guys to maybe help us with some of that as well, because this is not just simply a technology question. So we've had some Super Mondays as well for out-of-staters because we recognize there's like 100,000 of your customers that you're talking about. So we've tried to create additional appointments within our system. We've done Mondays, and but this is a little bit more complex than that. They have to show us the original documents. And so we have to work with you to come up with a solution that fits everybody.
Thank you. Representative Chafee.
Yeah, first I'd like to just echo everyone else's statements, thanking you all for the hard work you've done. I know it's difficult times right now, and to conduct business safely and also streamline business at the same time is impressive. Apologies if you already answered this question, but in a post-COVID world, are we still gonna, is DMV gonna keep the DVS portal and a lot of the online tools in place, and also the appointment system they're using now? Will that be the standard practice in the future?
Well, right now, yes.
No, we gotta hit that.
Can you hear me? I said, I answered yes. I mean, some solutions are short-term and may need to be replaced. For those that are more operationally aligned and integrated, we'll keep those. So it's going to be, on a case-by-case basis, but a lot of the solutions that we've provided, we certainly with the appointment system, I think that's been a real positive. And we're going to continue with that. And then the CBO portal is very important to truckers. We're going to continue with that. So most of them are going to continue post-COVID.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Chafee. We have a question from Rep. D. Giancarlo, who's not a member of the Transportation Committee, but is the chair of a task force that we established to look at a legislative task force that we established through the Transportation Committee 2 years ago to look at the issue of unregistered vehicles. I know he's got a few questions as well. Representative?
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I hope I was supposed to ask a question. I apologize if I wasn't, if I'm not a member of the caucus. But we also see in Waterbury, beyond the influx of, we have an influx of all sorts of out-of-state plates. The rise of dealer plates from other towns. We have, or other states, excuse me. We have Texas. We have New Jersey. We have New York. We have Maine. We have so many out-of-state temporary plates that have been coming into this our city and probably the state. And we're unsure of the ruling on them. A lot of them do not come with insurance. A lot of them are fake plates. I got to be honest with you, being manufactured. But Texas, a state like Texas, is allowed to mail plates to residents of Connecticut. I don't see any need for any temporary out-of-state plates in our city or in our state unless someone's visiting that just bought a car from another state and is visiting. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. There'll be plenty of time. I don't want to take up much time, but I just want, if you could look into, is there ways we can curtail this out-of-state temporary plate phenomenon that we're seeing? If there's a way of, if it's different rules for temp plates versus, the actual state plate. But also, I think one way to curtail it is you give a state ticket to that owner of that vehicle. With the amount of rental properties in the city of Waterbury, it is a difficult task trying to locate that person. But with our LPRs, our license plate readers, we're able to identify the cars within 30, 60, 90 days of how long they've been here. And I think the obvious way is to give that state ticket to the owner of that vehicle. But I just wanted to ask you about the out-of-state temporary plates. We're seeing a large influx of those, and it's a public safety issue I'm worried about. Most of these vehicles are unregistered.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, and we will definitely look into that for you.
Thank you.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And let me just echo my thank you to the entire department. I live in Norwalk. We have a big center here. And even pre-COVID, I noticed a big change in my wait time. So thank you for that. Just this morning, I heard from a constituent about something that I'm sure we have all wrestled with, which is how to pry the driver's license out of the hands of some of our more senior friends and family members who perhaps should not be on the road and can't face that. And she proposed requiring mandatory driver tests every 10 years so that it's not a bias against someone because of age, but it just happens every 10 years, like age 30, 40, 50, etc. And then maybe as people get older, it's every 5 years. And I'm just curious, since this happened to coincide with this meeting, if this is something the DMV has thought about or what your off-the-cuff take would be on something like that.
Sharon, any idea?
We can. I will say this. Good morning, Representative. Nice to see you. That prior to my life of being a deputy commissioner here, I was on that transportation committee, and that was brought up many a times. I think Roland and Steve Casado could speak on that. But it was also an issue of monies that we heard from a lot of people saying the affordability to do that, and so it never never went anywhere, I'll be quite honest with you, and we as a DMV have not pursued it. Now, again, as a legislative issue, if there's a bill out there that maybe you need to have a public hearing on, by all means, we can comment on it and go from there. But again, it's a money issue in regards to the people that would have to then say that I have to take another test again every 10 years. And also then we'd have to look at the fiscal impact on our side too, Representative.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Guerrero, you used to work in the legislature?
A long time ago, Mr. Chairman. I know I still look very young to you out there. You can't imagine that, right, Roland?
And you were on this committee?
Do I need to bring up poll? Oh, just kidding, everyone. Calm down over there. Party's having a heart attack over there already.
Representative O'Day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Madam Commissioner, for your comments today. I heard the word tolls, and I just had to raise my hand, knee-jerk, with that. My good friend Tony Guerrero. It's good to see you as well, and thank you all for all you're doing with DMV. Just a quick question. A constituent actually reached out to me fortuitously. They had gotten a letter about being able to renew their license online. And then they misplaced that letter. And they asked me what the process would be. And I told them to go to the scheduled appointment at DMV and just do it in person, which they have scheduled to do. It was a pilot program, according to this constituent. What percentage of people are being allowed to renew online their driver's license?
I'm not sure I have an actual percentage, but we're in the early stages of finalizing the ability to renew online. So over time, if you don't have any infractions and you don't have outstanding taxes, and you can do an end-to-end, the goal is to invite anyone that has, clean data. I'm talking more technology than anything else. So it's something that we are learning a lot more, but we did, I think I shared very briefly, like, for example, we invited people we consider friends and family, because you have to test a new system to make sure that it works. And so that's where we are right now. So I don't really have actual percentages.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. See you, Tony.
So do you guys read Millie's note? If you'd like to share the name, we can actually reach out to them and say, hey, go ahead. And Millie would be happy to talk to them to help them avoid a trip to the DMV.
I will reach out. I have Millie's number. Thank you, Millie. I regret that I didn't mention how phenomenal Millie has been for all my 8 years up here in Hartford in representing DMV and you all. And hello, Millie, and I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Representative Devlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Listen, I just wanted to take this opportunity to also express my appreciation for the work of DMV. I mean, this is an agency that, initiated or didn't come from the best reputation among constituents. And I think you guys have really done a tremendous job, particularly during the pandemic. You were able to switch things up. I have not had any complaints. I sort of hate to say, because I hope they're not going to come now, but really, I think you guys have done just a really great job, and I wanted to recognize that and encourage you to keep that going.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Well, it looks like we have no more questions at this point. Representative Carney, do you have?
Yeah, I just have one question. Again, thank you all so much for the presentation and certainly all the great work you are doing, especially during these last 10 months. My only question is regarding the Real ID. I know that was pushed to October, I believe October 1st, 2021. So I'm assuming a lot of people that maybe normally would have gotten it last year are holding off until the next year? I would imagine there might be a large amount of people who may come to you in September to get the real ID. So I'm just wondering, how are those numbers looking? Are you doing anything to prepare for the potential for more people wanting to come to the DMV to get that real ID?
Yes, we are. I think the last number I saw for compliance for Connecticut was around 54%. And we've seen a steady increase, but yes, we anticipate that we're gonna have to come up with plans to handle the influx. I can't share what those are right now, but yes, we're very cognizant of having to respond to people coming in because of the ID requirements. To get a real ID, they have to come to the office.
And can you get that at AAA or the DMV Express?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, can. Okay. All right.
Representative Carney, real quick, and thanks for that question, because obviously they did extend it, as you know. But again, if we start to find that, we're getting closer to that time frame, right? And Congress doesn't extend it again, we may have to look at, again, like the commissioners talked about before, with Super Mondays, maybe to open it up, whatever it is. But I know Sharon Generakis, our legal guru here, has been on top of this from day one. I think Sharon wants to say a comment on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the discussion that Congress passed the Real ID Modernization Act at the end of December. That will go a long way to ease some of the requirements that we have. Right now, we have to look at hard copies of documents. At some point, we will be able to take certain documents electronically. And actually, we have to wait for rulemaking. But there is one thing that went into effect immediately, which is you no longer have to bring a hard copy of your Social Security card. We can verify your number, which we do anyway through SSOLD, from another document or just having you say it at the counter. So I think that will go a long way to minimize the time it will take people to get real IDs, and hopefully that will, free up the online system that the commissioners and the team has put in place will allow people who don't want real IDs to renew online while opening up the appointments for the real ID people.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Representative Meskers?
Yeah, the question that came up in the observation about registration of cars and out-of-state drivers, right? And the concern about whether they're actually registering their vehicles in the state. I've only done a little cursory look at it in the past, but I'm not sure that your insurance policy, there's a deadline for which you're supposed to register your car within the state that you're driving and you're a resident of. So I'm not sure whether we should be looking for the insurance industry as reminders when people are getting their renewal of licenses or renewal of insurance, that they know that they run the financial liability if they are in a horrible accident and their car isn't registered and insured in the state where they're a resident. I'm not trying to put other burdens on people, but I'm not sure that people are adequately covered, and they may not realize that. So I think we probably need a little clarity on that, but I would look at the insurance industry to help us on that, letting people know that there's a window to register your car. Right.
Thank you for that information. I like that background though. Is that West Hartford?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
My hometown. At the end of the state where you don't have an office, incidentally. Although you did reopen Stanford, and I thank you for that.
Stanford's pretty close, Rep. Mesker. I don't know that you'd want to complain about your proximity to a DMV station when you got one only 6 miles away or so.
Bravo. Okay. I said corrected.
Are there any other questions or comments at this point? Seeing none, any closing remarks, Representative Carney, that you wish to make?
Nope. Just again, thank you to the DMV, particularly the commissioner, deputy commissioner, and Millie for all your hard work over the last 10 months.
Thank you.
Senator Casano?
It's a great meeting. I had one recently as well, and very pleased the way things are going, and let's keep it going.
Thank you, Senator.
And I echo their remarks. Thank you so much for your time today, giving us an update and overview of your progress over the last year. It's been Really rewarding to see your hard work pay off and our constituents having positive responses, interactions, and I'm deeply impressed by your work and commitment over these last 9 months, and I thank you very much for that. You will be before us again a week from now as you introduce your legislative package for the upcoming session, and we look forward to seeing that and discussing that in great detail with you. We, as you know, have numerous proposals that are coming from our membership as well, and I'm certain you'll have viewpoints and thoughts and ideas and maybe some concerns with some of those that we look forward to hearing from. So with that, we will close today's informational meeting with the Department of Motor Vehicles. And thank you very much for your time and commitment to the state of Connecticut. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Roland. Look forward
Bye.
to working with you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Millie. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner.
Thank you. See you next
you,
week. Bye.
Thank you to all.
Happy Inauguration Day.
Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.